So with exercise 12, we're going to do the same thing we just did with the horse. We're going to use the quick mask tool again to select our guinea pig. Then we're going to refine the edge. And then after that, we're going to actually apply the mask so that it goes away. And we're going to put our guinea pig on this background, and we're going to actually learn how to make a shadow. And that's this whole exercise. So I'm going to fit on screen so it's bigger. So that was Command 0 or View Fit on Screen. And I'm going to grab the quick mask. I'm going to use black paint. Make sure that the brush is harder, not too soft. And then you want your opacity and your flow to be 100%. Brush mode normal. And you're just going to paint around. If when you're painting, the pink is coming in light pink, then you're not going to get a solid selection out of it. So go and adjust that stuff first. You might want to, get a little bit of the hair on the top of his head and on the side so that it looks like he's fuzzy, and the selection looks more natural. And then, adjust your brush as you need to. You can freehand paint or you can shift click, whichever you like. Try out the shift clicking if you haven't done it though, just so at least you know how. So, just keep in mind when you're doing this kind of thing, you're just simply making a selection. So you could use, quick select, you could use the lassos, any way to make a selection, but it's nice to know the different ways. So this is learning a new way to do it. Refining the edge after that is, something that you're always going to want to do, especially if the thing you selected has hair that is, sticking out in any way, whether it's a person, an animal, because you're going to have a much more natural look. So once you have that, then just like with the horse, click the little mask button again so that you get the selection. And then we're going to inverse the selection. And we're going to go select Refine Edge again. And I would recommend actually with this one viewing it on white as opposed to viewing it on black, because it's already on a dark background. So to see it a little more naturally, you can do that. You could also look at it with the overlay if you want. And then we're going to use Smart Radius, right? We're going to drag that up, and our goal is that hopefully we get some of those little hairs without losing too much of the guinea pigs, So I see this ear is actually gone away a little bit. I'll try to see if I can get it to come back. If it doesn't, I can always fix it on the mask. Yeah, it's not really going to come back. But you can kind of go over it a little bit with the brush. And what you're trying to get to happen is for the computer to sense those little wispy hairs so that it looks nice and soft. as opposed to so once you like it, then go in and do a new layer with layer mask again. And remember too, you can feather a little, although for little hairs, I don't think I would feather. I'd probably leave it. You can shift the edge a bit if you want. I actually might make mine edge a little bit bigger for once. I don't usually do that. I usually go the opposite way, but let's see how that works. And we'll say okay. Then now I have a mask on my guinea pig, right? So I can clean up any edges that don't look good. So I'll go into the mask. Be sure you're not painting black and white on the picture itself. You want to be on the mask in the layer panel. And the default is the picture, not the mask. So always be sure you fix that. Now there's another option of dealing with masks right here. And it's next to adjustments. So when you're in... Let me set mine up again. I'm going to reset essentials. So it's right here when you click into adjustments and go to masks. And that lets you mess with the edges and things too. So I can go in and I can click into the mask edge again. It's another way to get there. So, and then I could refine that mask. This is taking me back to the same controls. And I actually think I maybe will shift back because my edge wasn't all that great. And then I'll go back and I'll just output to the layer mask again. So to add in, I'm going to use white, right, and my brush. And I lost a little of his ear. I want to fix that. And to remove, I'm going to use black. So white adds the layer back, black removes. I might go with a soft brush with low opacity in areas just to kind of blend out if I see pixels I don't like. And I'm going to go switch to black now in areas where I've got pixels, too many pixels, I'll try to soften those. So just go back and fix it and try to, be observant. See, hey, what am I missing on this image?
How do you get it? Like if there's too much, if you have some black on the outside.
So black will take away and white will put back. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to make a shadow for our guinea pig now. And to do it, first thing we want to do is apply our mask. And there's a few ways to do that. The easy way is to right-click on the mask in the layer panel. Now, if you don't have right-click enabled, here's how you do it. You click the desktop, you go to the little apple symbol, you go to System Preferences, you go to Mouse, and you want this one to be set on secondary button. And then get out of that. The shortcut for right click is Control click. So that's another way to get to the same thing. So if you've got right click enabled, you can just right click to get it, or you can Control click. Now what we want to do is apply our layer mask, and that's basically going to get rid of the layer mask, but it's going to keep the image just how we have it now. From there, we're going to get the selection. Actually, let's clean this up first. So as you move your guinea pig around, notice that because this image was bigger, there's sections of just pieces So to get rid of that, you know, you could really erase it, or you can use the selection. Like I could just use the rectangle marquee, grab a big piece of it, hit delete, and then deselect, and then go do the other part. Or erase, whatever. But I'm just going to move this little guy around and try to clean him up without, of course, erasing any of him. There we go. Oh, still a little tiny piece right here. Okay, now we're going to use the outline of our guinea pig to make the shadow. And to do that, we have to get the selection marquee back around the guinea pig. You do not have to reselect it. You can simply command click on the little tiny thumbnail picture. So I'm going to hold the command button down. I'm going to click right on the picture. Doesn't work to click on the writing or the blue part of the layer thumbnail. It's got to be right on the exact picture. That gives you the selection marquee. And we're going to make a silhouette of this guinea pig. So we don't want to paint on the guinea pig. We want to paint on a new layer. So we're going to make a new empty layer by clicking the new empty layer button, or new layer button, right next to the trash. And once we have that, we're going to pick a color, and you kind of want to look at the shadows, and often shadows will have a blue cast to them. So we're actually going to go in and we're going to color pick a blue kind of color. And one thing you can do, you could use the eyedropper to kind of sample, but then you want to pick a really dark version of the color. So I'm actually going to go, I'm not going to go for gray, I'm going to go for black, but right along this area. So it's going to look black, but the black is made up with blues.
Where'd you find the...
So once I have that color, I'm going to fill onto the new layer, not on my guinea pig, but on my new layer with paint bucket. Okay, so my guinea pig is here. The silhouette just happens to be on top. I'll deselect now, select, deselect, and you know, I could move it so you can see it. I've got both. And from there now, this is going to be my shadow. So what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to warp it, or I'll use distort because it's easier. And then I'm going to make it see-through, and I might even blur it a little. So to do that, first I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, Distort, and then you can grab it at the top and just pull it down. You might need to move it. Now, how do you know what direction the shadow should go? Look at the other ones. And just get it to kind of lay, you know, flat-ish. And once it's flat-ish, make it see-through, so drop the opacity down. Look at the other shadows. I would look at this one in the left and try to get it even to it. And then you can blur it too. Although this shadow doesn't really have very blurry edges, so I wouldn't do it much. But if I wanted to, I'd go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And then the shadow is going to be at the bottom. So I'm going to drag up till I see it. And I can make that a little fuzzy if I want to. And then, you know, you're just going to position it. You're not even going to see all of it because we want him to be kind of going off the page since we don't have the tire here. So just set him down like so. You got your shadow and you're good to go.